Get ready for an exciting time today as we dive into the world of financial empowerment. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting with the incredible Alejandra Rojas, a financial professional on a mission to reshape money mindsets. Think about this for a second. You're hitting rock bottom only to rise stronger and even more determined. That's Alejandra's journey, a tale of overcoming financial trauma to create holistic frameworks for prosperity and well being. Through the Money Mindset Hub, she's guiding female entrepreneurs and business owners towards financial freedom on their terms. But there's more to Alejandra than meets the eye. A true adventurer, she's constantly exploring the beauty of the world around her. And where does she share her insights and golden nuggets? On her dynamic podcast, The Money Mindset Show. In addition to her groundbreaking work, Alejandra has been recognized as one of the leading women in her field. So get ready to be inspired as we sit down with Alejandra, learning how she's empowering women to rewrite their financial stories and live life to the fullest. This is the Possible Woman podcast, where every story is a testament to the limitless possibilities within us. Welcome to the Possible Woman podcast, where we empower female entrepreneurs to make their dreams a reality. I'm your host, Sharon Ringier, and you're in the right place if you're ready to break free from the hustle, gain clarity, and find true success in both your business and life. Tired of feeling stuck and overwhelmed by endless advice? I've been there too. After years of trying to figure it out, I realized I needed to get crystal clear on my vision. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Without goals, you don't have direction, and without direction, you won't get to where you want to go. There's a strategy behind setting goals, and once they're set, you'll feel empowered to take action and make real progress. We'll have real conversations with inspiring women sharing strategies and success stories to help you gain clarity, confidence, and overcome self-doubt. So let's get started. It's time to unleash your inner possible woman and make those big dreams happen. It's so great to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So grateful to be here with you today.
So let's just dive in. My first question for you is, can you share a bit about your journey leading up to being chosen for this project that we're working on?
Ah, okay. I would do it very short. I started um kind of this journey 7 years ago. When, like you said on the intro, I was dealing with a money burnout, which is very ironic because I work in finances. I went to bachelor's degree on finances, like everything was money and accounting and all stuff around it. And then, you know, mindset things happen. My relationship with money wasn't in tune. I didn't know who the heck I was with money. It was just like so much of that unknown spoken things about money that got me to the place of being in a burned out. And not only the burned out, but it ended up reactivating an old immune system condition that I dealt with when I was 6 years old. So I was faced with the decision of like whether I continue living my life this way, even though that I know that I'm privileged to be here one more day because I pass all of this, or I just ignore that and continue the quote unquote adultish life, the next thing to have, the next experience, the next thing to buy or whatever. So that was a moment for me to reflect, even though that um I was, let's say, pretty young. I'm still young, but I was like, I was how old, like 21 or 22 when that happened. Um, it really showed me, okay, this is not how I want to live. This is not how I want to understand money. Because the thing about me is that I love finances and understanding money and people through money. So it was just like choosing between my health, my life, and what I love to do as a professional. And that kind of inspired, like, you know what? I am just going to turn it around. And that's when I started to, self coach and become very aware of what it was happening with me. Um, and I started to apply everything that I learned back when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, all the way into 12, that I deal with my health condition, all of the soft skills that my mom taught me, my family taught me, mindset work. Like to this day, I believe mindset had 60% to do with me recovering. So I started to apply all of that as an adult to fix that, my relationship with money and my burnt out. And it became a business because I was seeing my friends that were business owners going through the same path, like making almost the same decisions for the kind of the same reasons, or avoiding to make decisions for the same reasons. And I was like, hey, I have something that you don't have, which is my body speaks to me. When I'm going down to a really bad path for myself, I ended up reactivating this thing, like this health condition, that they appear purple spots on my body. So that's how I know, like, oh, this is happening, right?
Mm.
um they don't have that, and I see them going that way. So why we don't do something here? And I just started just with my friends, with people, and it became a business after a while. And I understood money in a way that they couldn't. So it was natural for me to share with them, to share a more human side of money. And now, after all of these years and trainings, I got more into neuroscience, science, neuroplasticity, money minds of work. It's just everything around human behavior with money.
Wow. Well, you kind of answered the other question I had, so I'm going to keep asking. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty deep. And it's interesting that you talk about that because we don't know what we don't know. And it's one of the things that I always say that, right? And it's so I have autoimmune issues as well. And they're like, how do you gauge it, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I know the number one trigger for mine is stress. And I can
Right.
always tell when things are acting wonky, even though because we tend to we learn how to survive on that, what is that, fight or flight, and it just
Mm-hmm.
becomes normal. So we don't have, like you said, if we don't have that autoimmune, or if we don't have something that can give us our body gauge, we just think that this is normal. And
Correct.
so we stay in that fight or flight. And for me, it's like all of a sudden, it's like my skin starts to feel weird, or I
Mm.
was getting these intermittent fevers, and I could always tell when I'd have one from how my lower back would feel, and it was like I had a mild fever, and it was so minuscule that I wouldn't know it on the surface. But if
Right.
my husband would accidentally touch my back and it's like, oh my God, like I could feel it. And it's or I'm inflamed, or all of a sudden my hands are like swollen, and it's just like, oh, I'm having a flare up. And it's like, okay, why am I having
Yeah.
a flare up? Or even, people don't realize you get a cold sore. You're stressed.
Exactly.
You are
Yeah.
stressed. Or you get a zit. You are stressed. Your body is stressed from, and it's not necessarily stress like, oh my God, I gotta pay my bills. It's stress from you're eating the wrong stuff. And you're eating the wrong stuff because you're binge eating because you're stressed. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a cycle. So I love how you kind of brought that deeper than, and that's what was the next question was going to be, talking about it in a deeper level. So I totally resonate with that. And that is just it's not talked about enough. And it's so great though
Right.
that as a young person, a young adult, that you're realizing this now, and you're not like me, who, I'm celebrating so many anniversaries for my 30th birthday I sometimes forget. And I'm a grandma, so I'll leave that one there. But so it's great that you're learning that now, early on, to be able to be that trailblazer to help other female entrepreneurs not fall into that trap. So
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say thank you for that, because it's like I love seeing young women. It's we don't know enough about money.
Yeah, no, we don't. And I think everything happens in the right timing. I was actually talking with my mom last week, and I was like, can you imagine if I didn't go through what we went through as a family when I was 6 years old? Like 6 years old is pretty, like if I see a 6 year old, like you're pretty little, right? And the
Right.
doctors told us like, well, enjoy her because she's not gonna be here probably for her eighth birthday or whatever. Like if we didn't pass that, probably I would be in a completely different situation. But the point is that we did had that experience. So to me, the concept of time and when like especially with money, like you're supposed to have this stuff by this age, or you're supposed to I don't know, check these boxes by age, whatever. It's so subjective and harmful, and especially from the trauma informed perspective, it just doesn't make things easier when you are talking about two raw survival things, which is time and money. So I really like to put it out there like, hey, I may be 29 today talking about this. If you are um like younger or older, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You hear this when you have to hear it because you are ready to hear that.
Right. Well, I love that you've taken your mess and made it your message.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
definitely have. So, Her Story Unveiled aims to highlight the achievements of women entrepreneurs. What aspect of your story do you hope resonates most with our listeners?
Um, I think what I really hope is to bring some humanness to everything. Like I shared at the beginning, I study finances. So here's the thing. If you can picture a little girl playing with invoices next to two accountant parents, that would she will prefer to sit down and do administrative work with them than go outside and play with other kids. That was me. Like this is how much I love understanding and kind of this finance world, right? Um, if somebody like me that loves this, that went to school, had the preparation, everything related to money, had to really take a step back and consider, who am I with money? What's my relationship with money? Like
Right.
what this does this really means? Um, and it went all the way through a money burned out. I just want to tell you, this happens not because you have a study or not because you haven't studied. Happens. It's because the way that society has been structured, that especially for BIPOC community, we have not been taught the underlying things that comes with finances and money that directly affect us as a human beings. So I guess my what I really want you to get out of my story is that it doesn't matter if you are in the burnout right now, if you are before and feeling it coming, or if you are after it, there is always a way to get out of it. And if you have not mastered, quote unquote, mastered the money game, you don't have to worry about that, because there is nothing other than knowing yourself with money that will be more beneficial to you and to your business.
That's beautiful. Thank you. So, this whole project that I have right now is about celebrating leading women. Can you share a woman entrepreneur who has inspired or influenced your journey personally?
Oh, this is going to be difficult, but I think a lot of my um, inspiring women have to be close related women. My mom was the first entrepreneur I saw ever. Although she is like now she doesn't have the businesses, she inspired me a lot. But if you talk about famous people, I have to say I see Shakira and Beyonce as the two leading. Shakira, of course, because she's Colombian, but also because her story is just like, okay, I she gives a lot back to Colombia. And that's something that I always have envisioned for my company. which I already do. We have set up a scholarship fund from the Money Mindset Hub to in Colombia to get people to learn another language. So that was inspired out of Shakira as well. She has different schools that she has built. I guess all of these Latina representatives and Beyonce in her powerful human being as well, how she handles everything. It's more than just entrepreneurship, is the power that as a female you have within yourself that really gets me inspired from them and from many other in the industry as well.
Wow, that's nice. And what's funny is you're answering other questions too.
I'm
That's
just getting into
awesome. That's
them.
so awesome. You just get on a roll. I'm like, this is awesome. Like she's making my job easy. So my last question for you is looking ahead, what do you hope the legacy of her story unveiled will be for other women in business?
Oh, I love this question. And the reason why I love this question is because I am full believer that in two senses that your mind is drawn to whatever you wish for yourself, and that you see somebody like you, somebody that is doing it, somebody that represents you, um in a magazine, like wherever it is that you see it, it has power. And I think that's the power of this story as well, and this project. But also on the woo side of it, I am all about manifestation. I'm all
Hello.
about
Hello.
energies, right?
I'm like, come on with it. I'm like, I'm waiting for her. I'm like, she's got to say my word.
Yeah. So it's just like, just see it and see, this can be my story unveiled too. This can be like, one day I will get to that point of telling my story. Like everything that, and this is something that has really um pushed me forward in many, many low, like the low moments of entrepreneurship, is that to think that this is going to be part of my story. I'm living this because this is going to be part of my story that I'm going to tell somebody else one day. So imagine that when you're saying that, you're thinking, oh, this is my story on VO. That's how I'm going to share it. I think that is the power of the project. And I hope and I know this is the ripple effect that is going to create.
Awesome. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like that was the I remember even so I'll share a little story. It's like I want to say probably like 5 years ago, I had it on my whiteboard that I wanted to have a magazine. And everyone makes fun of me because I'm always, coming up with these ideas. And it's like, I'm like, oh, squirrel, oh, shiny, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it'll come if it comes. And it still stayed in the back of my head. And I do vision boards and everything. But what got me was this like last year when I did the first issue of the magazine, it was not intended to be a continuation. I meant to do the magazine just for one time for a retreat. And I had
Right.
still had all the other magazines that I liked from other events. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, well, it's Women's History Month. Why don't I use it to, promote my event that was coming up? So I pretty much featured all these amazing women that I knew. And I made sure I had one woman for every day in March except the weekends. And 3 days later, I get a call. It's like, hey, how can I buy one? And I'm like, oh, give me a moment. So, within 3 weeks, I sold 35. I wasn't even anticipating on selling anything. I was wanting to have 10 printed for my retreat because my retreat was just
Right.
sold out at 10 people. So that's all I wanted. That's it. And a friend of mine called and she's actually on the fall issue and she's like, is this a one and done or is this, are you going to do it again? And I'm like, I'm probably doing it again because I'm getting a really good response and I wasn't anticipating this. And she's like, let me just tell you, I don't blow smoke up anybody's butt. She's like, this is bigger than you. And she's like, I know people that have magazines and they pale in comparison to what you have. And it literally was like it was not even a like it wasn't even it was surreal. Like
Yeah.
and everyone kept saying, I think this magazine is going to be really good for you and it might take your business over. And I'm like, no, it's not taking my business over. can I just say, it's like I did not, and then so then all of a sudden I'm like, well, if I'm gonna launch a year anniversary, I want it to be with a bang. And I always, and whenever I say that, it always turns into something bigger than what I thought.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I want to see what it takes to get it on the billboard. And at first it was difficult because, I even had, I had issues finding, out how to even get on the billboard. And I had someone ghost me about the billboard and just all
Mm,
kinds of stuff. And it was just like, you know what, this is meant to happen. And all of a sudden it was like the floodgates, because it's like, as a man thinketh, so is he. Don't even ask how. If God plants something on your heart, you just do it and he'll work out the how. And this
love
has
it.
been beyond amazing, because I have met some incredibly amazing women because of this initiative. And it's not even, even though, yes, a lot of them, the valuation of their businesses are like insane. I'm
Hmm.
not impressed with the money part. I'm impressed with these women and where their heads are, like their belief system and just their energy is so amazing. And like yourself, it's like so amazing, And so it's like, I really want the legacy of this to be able to let women be able to have that voice and share who they are.
Yeah.
Not because, again, we're not just our business. And that was my biggest thing with this, is I did not want it to be where, oh, well, if I'm on the billboard, will my, business be up there? And it's like, no, I want to feature these women, because
Right.
without, it's like, in the book, The One Thing, and I talked about this at a different event last night. And The One Thing, by Gary Keller, and he talks about Star Wars and, the movies and the merchandise. And
Hmm.
the value of the Star Wars movies was a lot less than the value of the merchandise. But guess what? The one thing, if it weren't for those movies, the merchandise wouldn't be
What's the
making
merchandise?
so much more money.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just, yeah, I'm blown away and overwhelmed every time. It's like, I've already done a couple podcasts with you guys, and it's like all of you are blowing my mind, and I'm just so blessed to be in like that space, that room.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama says it's like, you need three people. The woman in front of you is your mentor, the woman walking alongside you is your colleague, and the woman
Yeah.
behind you is your mentee. So it's
Yeah.
like each one I want to be able to, and I always talk about this. I want to, whatever I learn, be able to bring someone with me.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for just you, and so cute, and just like, so
Thank you.
how can people find you? And of course we'll have it in the show notes, but what do you want to, I know you have your podcast,
Yes.
how can we, hear about that and what have you?
Yeah, so you can turn in any platform that you listen to any podcast. Look for the Money Mindset Show. Um, I try to like put episodes every week, but now with pregnancy and mom to be, it's whenever it's happening, but I'm assuring you, every time that I drop an episode, it's so much trauma clearing for female perspective and in entrepreneurship. Last one was about how to clear family interactions when you're growing, that the guilt, the shame, like, oh, I'm making more than my family and stuff. That is huge in business, and I have 100 couple of people telling me like, why didn't I hear this before? So I promise you, every time an episode drops, it's mind blowing. So go to find it, the Money Mindset Show, and you can also find me on LinkedIn, Alejandra Rojas. It's better if you just go to the link on the show notes, and that's fine, or on Instagram at the Money Mindset Expert. And if you are a Latina, Afro Latina, or BIPOC community, I'm creating a program only for us on financial growth. So everything that I have really gathered in the last 7, 8 years in the financial space, I am going to nail it down for us, because I probably gonna be raising a mixed Afro Latina Dutchy baby, and it's important to me to get all of this out of my system, nail it to who we are, our identity. And that's the program that is coming. So if you are in that space and you want some financial growth that connects your identity, who you are, with the financial freedom that you're looking for, then this is the program for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for just being on this journey with me. I'm humbled when I have women on a journey because, it's not about my legacy, it's because technically my legacy is all of you, and we're each other's legacy when we can lift other
Correct.
women up. So again, it's like I love meeting women that have the same vision. It doesn't matter that we're not doing the same thing. But we are still, our vision is to, help other women grow. And I
Absolutely.
think that, if we adopt that more frequently, we might be able to repair this nation. So just my little
We
two.
are.
I'm not political by any means. If you ask my
We
husband,
are.
yes, she doesn't talk about politics. But I believe that, I mean, that's why they call it Mother Earth when you really think about it. We need to get back to that. So anyway, thank you
Yes.
again so much for being a part of this. I so appreciate you showing up and just
Thank you.
sharing your love. And I hope you have an amazingly blessed day. So thank you everyone for listening. Come back again and we'll be here. This is the Possible Woman podcast, and we'll look forward to, speaking with you again soon. Bye.